Hello everybody, thank you very much for tuning in to a new YouTube video. My name is Todd and I am with HobbyLink Japan, and in this video we are going to be talking about the hot new releases that we recently saw at the 63rd All Japan Model and Hobby Show, which took place just a few weeks ago here in Tokyo, Japan. So let's get to it. First up, there was a bit of a surprise for us at the Belfine booth at the show. Now, Belfine, you may, if you watched the previous video regarding the Shizuoka Hobby Show, which took place back in May, and I believe even the show before that, Belfine had recently announced, and it's not released yet, but it's coming soon, the 1/72nd scale Top Gun Dark Star, I believe it was called, the aircraft from the Top Gun Maverick. So this same company, Belfine, had a couple of new exciting announcements at the show this year, or this hobby show. And the first one we are going to talk about is one that when I posted it on the Twitter social media account, it got a lot of interest. A lot of people out there are really interested in this kit. And I had actually never heard about this before. And it was the Type 33 Hasegawa, I believe I'm pronouncing this correct. And this is from a popular series, and now it's a game as well called Tankhead, which was created by Emerson Tong. And this was a really interesting and cool looking item, I thought, and it really caught my eye because I have an interest in like some of these weird kind of interesting wacky sci-fi and armor concepts. And this was a six-legged tank design with the tank turret on top, but the legs are like a spider, and I thought that looked really cool. Now for this kit, unfortunately there was no scale listed. It looks like it's going to be a non-scale type of kit, but just looking at the kit on this table there and the size of the thing, I would say it's probably, I can't say exactly, but it looks pretty close to a regular 1/35th scale armor kit, if I had to guess. Now, the tag for this item did say that the company, Belfine, is waiting for approval to produce these kits, so we can't say for sure if this kit is actually going to be manufactured and come out one day. But interesting fact, one of the people that retweeted our post about this kit on social media was Mr. Emerson Tong himself. So if that doesn't say it's a pretty good chance that this kit is coming, I don't know what does. All right, also at the Belfine booth, there were three new exciting kits, I thought, which were also completely new and a bit of a surprise. Now, these kits are from the kind of a now cult favorite movie, which is Blade Runner 2049, which is the more recent of the two Blade Runner movies. And the biggest of the three kits on the table at the Belfine booth would be the blaster. So there was Deckard's blaster, I believe it was called, and it is in a 1/1 scale. So that looks quite cool, quite an interesting item. So usually for plastic model kits, we're not usually used to seeing like actual firearms so much in proper 1/1 scale. So it'd be quite interesting to see this kit, I feel. And then also there were two more kits on the Blade Runner table there, and they were the spinners. So we had Kay's spinner, and there was also another model kit for Deckard's police spinner. Now, what was interesting about these two car kits was, unlike pretty much some of the other items, these ones are going to be in a proper scale, and it listed the scale for these two spinner kits as being in 1/32nd scale. So that was quite interesting to see as well. Okay, next up, heading on over to the Bandai booth at the show. Of course, we got to talk about the Bandai items. I know a lot of you viewers out there, this is kind of the most interesting and exciting stuff for you. So heading over to Bandai. Of course, just as we saw at the Shizuoka Hobby Show back in May as well, they had the brand new perfect grade new Gundam, which is, now this is already the month of October, and that kit is going to be releasing in January, I believe, the initial release at least. So it's only a few months away, but yes, they had the perfect grade new Gundam at the show. They had a nice look at they had the kit assembled in a couple of places. You could see they had one of the examples they had set up showed the nice inner frame details, and the other example they had set up at the show, which, although to be honest with you, I didn't even realize at the time I was looking at the kit at the show, but the one that they had in the glass case had the LED system installed and it was turned on. So the light being inside of this inside of the Tokyo Big Sight, which is the arena they call it, it's quite bright. So any kind of LED light's going to be hard to see unless it's inside some kind of like darker box. So that made these LEDs a bit harder to see. But looking at the pictures that I had taken later on and seeing a comment about the Bandai booth later on as well, I realized that actually one of the assembly kits had the LED lights set up inside the kit and it turned on, and it looks quite sweet. I do have to admit, this is going to be, it's a nice, really large kit, but in addition to being a really large kit, it's going to come with a pretty large price tag as well, including the LED set, which is going to be a separate expense. So that's exciting to see. But besides the perfect grade, Bandai did have at least a few other new surprises that they had not released previously, and the biggest of which is going to be a new Master Grade kit. Master Grade continues to have lots of fans out there that love Master Grade kits, and this is said it is the new Ashtray red frame. So anybody out there, if you are a fan of the Ashtray Gundams, you are going to be excited because you'll be able to build your new Ashtray red frame, so look forward to that. Hey guys, we are now 24 hours into the future and my shirt has changed, as you can see. Sorry about that, we had a bit of a microphone issue, so you're going to have to re-record the last half of this video. So let's get back to it. Okay, so I think we were talking about Bandai when the microphone cut out there, so let's get back into that and let's go on from the new HG kits that they had at the show. One of them from the series G-Quacks, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So they had shown the latest of the new HG kits coming out from that series, and it is the Hammurabi, which was looking, Hammurabi? I'm probably pronouncing everything wrong today. And that was looking quite great, I have to say. But for me, perhaps the more exciting of the new items that they had, that they were showing off at the show, was from the Gundam Wing series, and not just any of the Gundam Wing series. This was from Endless Waltz, and it is the Gundam Sandrock Custom. So what makes this particular release a bit exciting for me is it is the first of the Endless Waltz kits that are going to be reproduced by Bandai. So back in the 90s, I believe it was, Bandai had originally produced a series of Endless Waltz HG kits in 100 scale and 1/144th scale. And that was kind of like right around the beginning of when the whole high grade line of kits actually started themselves. So at this point, those kits are like around 30 years old and they are not terribly too great in quality at this point. So I'm excited to see if we are getting the Sandrock Custom coming out in the newer HG line of kits. Does that mean we're also going to see any of the other Endless Waltz kits, like the Serpent Custom or the Heavy Arms? We shall have to wait and see, I guess. But that'll do it for us and Bandai. All right, now moving on over into the actual scale side of the stuff we saw at the show, we're going to start off at the Fine Molds booth. Now, this kit had actually gone up for pre-order, I believe just last month or September. Actually, by the time this video goes out, it's already going to be October or November maybe. But yeah, I believe around September, this kit was put up for pre-order on our site. And from Fine Molds, it is the brand new 72nd scale F104 Starfighter kit. So this was kind of quite interesting to see. Fine Molds has been producing a number of new jet aircraft kits in brand new tool jet aircraft kits in 72nd scale. We had the F-14 Tomcat, which part of that started off as a magazine exclusive, but then they have also produced actual for sale versions of the F-14 as well. And then we had the F-4 Phantom kit as well, brand new tool from Fine Molds. And now we're getting the F-104 Starfighter, which is another one of those Cold War era jets. And in the plastic, this kit was looking quite excellent. I have to say, it was looking really nicely detailed in the cockpit, as for all the recent Fine Mold kits have been. So looking forward to this kit being released here in the future. Next up, moving over to the Hasegawa booth at the show. For me, the most interesting item that they had on display is another item that had actually gone up for pre-order around in September, I believe it was. And this is going to also be a brand new toolkit, but unlike the other releases they've done that have been cars, this one's going to be a motorcycle. And not just any motorcycle, this is the Kawasaki Ninja GP-Z or Z 900R. Now that is the famous Ninja that Kawasaki made. This is the original, the granddaddy of all of the Ninja bikes actually, from the 1980s, and also as was made famous by Mr. Tom Cruise himself, having rode this bike in the very popular movie Top Gun back in the mid-80s. So really exciting for me to see this kit. I've unfortunately never had a chance to ride one of these Ninjas myself in real life, but at least we'll be able to build a model kit of it coming up here in the future. Now it will be interesting to see if perhaps maybe Hasegawa would do a licensed box version of this kit with like Top Gun decals and whatnot. Maybe, I'm just guessing, this is just my wish, I guess you could say. It might never actually come to pass, but that would be really fun to see if they were able to do something like that for this kit at some point in the future. But yeah, looking forward to seeing this Ninja come out from Hasegawa. I believe this is due for release in December, and as with many of the other motorcycle kits out there, this one is going to be in 1/12 scale. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on, now going over to a bit of a lesser known manufacturer called Yamashita Hobby. Now, Yamashita Hobby is basically, up until this point, been known for only making 1/700th scale Imperial Japanese model ship kits, basically only the smaller kind of destroyer ships as well. But we discovered at the hobby show that they are looking to kind of expand the subjects that they develop here, and they had a paper on their wall announcing that they are now going to develop a 1/72nd scale KI 84 Hayate kit. Now, this is kind of quite exciting because other Japanese manufacturers such as Aoshima and Hasegawa, they don't really do so much in terms of 72nd scale aircraft kits anymore. So it's kind of fun to see other Japanese manufacturers kind of come into the space and develop new kits as well. Only one concern that I have for this kit is, as seen on the paper that they had at the show, they don't expect to have the kit released until possibly 2028. So we do have a few years wait. Although talking with the gentleman at the booth, he did mention that if they are able to develop this a bit faster than they expect, that there is a possibility it could be released earlier than the date that they had on the paper, but we'll just have to wait and see. But that'll be exciting to see how they do for this new aircraft kit. All right, moving on over now to the Platz booth. At the Platz booth, they are the importer, the Japanese importer for a company called B-Max. Now, B-Max is famous for doing a number of car and motorcycle kits recently, but the one kit that they had on display at their booth this year is actually the same one that they had on display at their booth back at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, and it's the one that I'm personally most excited to see be released at some point in the future, and that is going to be a 1/12 scale Mazda 787B, which was the famous race car that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I believe it was back in 1991, if my memory serves me correct. So this 787B was the Mazda car, and it was powered by their famous rotary engine, but not just any rotary engine. This one had a 4-rotor engine, and it was pumping out some crazy high horsepower numbers back in those days. So it'll be quite interesting to see this kit come out. So up until this point, the only 787B kit that has been released so far was the 1/24th scale Tamiya kit, which is about 30 years old, I believe, at this point. So it's getting a bit old. And not only are we getting a new 787, but it's going to be in a gloriously large 1/12th scale. So that'll be quite exciting to see. All right, continuing on to look at rather large and big kits. over at the, what was it? Great Wall Hobby. Although they did not have their booth, their own separate booth. I forget exactly which booth they were at the hobby show. But coming up from Great Wall Hobby, they have a new 1/32nd scale F6F Hellcat, which is the famous US Navy World War II fighter from the war. And this kit they are developing, they only had a few parts actually from the kit to display at the show. They had the cowling for the kit, and then they had the engine. I believe it was the Wright 2800 is the name of that engine, but it was looking quite detailed, and a couple of pieces of landing gear. That was all they had to display at the show for this kit. But this kit is going to be on the way. It's always nice to see brand new tool 32nd scale aircraft kits coming out from different manufacturers, and Great Wall Hobby has been actually producing some nicely detailed kits, so it'll be quite nice to see this kit. Now, I know the F6F might be a bit of a controversial subject. Some people love it, some people don't love it, but it's always nice to see popular World War II aircraft new toolkits in 32nd, in my opinion. All right, next up, it is now tool time. So unfortunately, we do not have enough time to talk about all the cool and exciting new tools that we did happen to see at this show. So I chose the ones that were at least most exciting for me to see and talk about. And both of them are going to be from a company called the Plamo Improvement Commission. Now, the first one was something else that has actually recently gone up for pre-order on our site, and they are calling this the Plamo Dry Oven Fit. So basically it is it looks almost identical to a microwave oven that you would have on the counter in your kitchen, but this oven is not going to be for cooking any kind of food or microwaving food or whatnot. The whole purpose of this oven, what it is designed for, is to dry your model pieces after you've painted it. So you paint your items, you put it on the sticks, and then you put it in this drying oven, you hit the button, and it'll warm up and it'll help dry your parts. So that'll be quite interesting to see. It's definitely useful, especially if you live in kind of more humid kind of climates like here in Japan. Especially in summertime, it can get quite humid, and that can kind of maybe cause paint to dry slowly, or in wintertime when it's cold. So it'll be really useful for that, I believe. And it's actually not terribly too expensive. It went up for pre-order, and I believe the pre-order price was like Nihon 20,000 yen, which probably converts around to 150 US dollars. So not terribly too bad. And the other item that they had on display at their booth at the show was a rather generously large 80 centimeter long LED light bar, which you can put on your work table in the back, and I believe it comes with a stand, or you can either use a clip-on to clip it to the side of your table. And it has like different warm color temperatures for the light, so you can have like a more white tone if you want, or a more natural, what would I say, more naturally like warm tone. And there's different brightness levels, but being that it was really super long and like 80 centimeters long, I thought that was quite nice, and something that will be able to really help generate and show light on the subjects as you're building them. Now, I do want to mention for both of these items, because they are electronic items that will need to be plugged into a wall socket to function, these items are of course going to be designed for use with Japanese electronic circuits, which is about 100 volts or 50, 60 hertz, depending on which part of the country you live. But so if you live in America, basically the plug is going to be the same, and it should probably work largely without any kind of issue. Although if you live in other parts of the world, say Europe, which I believe runs on, was it 220 volts or somewhere thereabout, you might need to use like a converter or something like that to get it to work properly. But if you are interested in either of these items, that is going to be an option for you out there as well. So really looking forward. Actually, I kind of really do want to buy both of them for myself, especially that light and the oven. I think it's really cool. Like I want to order it just because it looks so cool. It's up until this point, I think one of the more popular things that people have been using to dry model kit parts has been like Japanese dish dryers with like a clear kind of plastic cover that goes over the top. So that was something else we were selling on our site a little while ago. But for me, it's just kind of fun and cool to see this oven looking thing, which looks more natural, I think, on a modeling booth than say the dish dryer, if I have to be honest. All right, next up, I wanted to talk about a few things that were actually missing at the show, which I was expecting to be there, but for whatever reason, they were not. And the first one of the two things that was missing at the show that I was hoping to see more details about was something that we had saw at the Shizuoka show back in May. Now, this was probably one of the most, I don't know if it was the most interesting things for me from the Shizuoka show, but it was definitely towards like one of the top 3 most interesting things at the Shizuoka show. And that was something that was at the Kotobukiya booth at that show. And these were 3 Starship kits from the popular computer game called Star Citizen. They had those on display at the Shizuoka Hobby show, but for whatever reason, and I searched all around the Kotobukiya booth at the show this year, but I did not see them. But yeah, these Star Citizen chip kits were missing at the Kotobukiya booth. So hopefully that's not an indication that they are not going to be produced. Hopefully maybe they just didn't have space to put them on display this year, or I don't know what, but those kits were not there. All right, and then one other thing that I noticed was mysteriously absent from the Tokyo Hobby Show was basically any model kit from the manufacturer known as Border Hobbies, Border Model. Usually they've been at pretty much all of the hobby shows up until this point. We saw them at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, and one of the kits that I was looking to see more details on about expected release, or maybe see more finalized form of the kit actually going to be coming into production, what it would look like maybe in color. They had, at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, they had this really cool kind of flying battleship dreadnought looking ship kit, which was really large and really awesome looking. And I was hoping to see more finalized version of this kit at the Hobby Show here in Tokyo, but unfortunately Border Models was just nowhere to be found at the Hobby Show. So that was an interesting item that are an interesting, both of those were interesting omissions that were not there at the Hobby Show this time. All right, and that will pretty much do it for our quick look at the items that we thought were interesting from the recent 63rd All Japan Model and Hobby Show that was recently held this month in Tokyo. Let us know in the comments, was there anything that we did not talk about at the show that you thought was interesting, or any of the items that we discussed, if you thought that was interesting as well? Just let us know in the comments and hit that like button if you did happen to like this video. Now, going forward, if you had been watching this channel recently, we've been doing a number of live shows. Now, the live shows are going to be on a bit of a hiatus. I always pronounce everything wrong lately. But yes, but we will be doing some more monthly videos related to other kind of scale items, maybe not exactly scale themselves, but it will not be a return to the old classic Gunpla TV, though we will maybe cover some of the similar subjects that you had previously watched on that old show as well. So we will have to see. Let us know in the comments, I guess, what kind of stuff you would like to see us cover here on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you very much, everybody out there, for tuning in to watch this video. We hope you have a great day, have fun modeling, and the holiday season is coming up here, so everybody get ready for that. Christmas is coming soon, so take care of everybody, and we'll see you and talk to you later.